Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about Mars square Jupiter in Synastry. So this is a really high energy aspect to have in your Synastry. There's definitely a lot of moving around and action and doing things together, and even a bit of restlessness when these two planets are square. We can maybe um, do a little bit too much without taking a lot of time together to like tune into our feelings and go within. Oh my goodness, look at these fireworks. This is so cool. Why does it do this sometimes? I don't understand. Anyways, yeah. So the fireworks, that represents a lot of activity that we have with this square. But it's actually kind of a difficult energy to deal with. I mean, Jupiter squares are never as difficult as, say, Saturn squares or Pluto squares. But the difficulty between these two planets in square is that they're both like our masculine energy, like our outgoing energy, like Jupiter's our expansive, forward thinking, faith, masculine energy, right? And then Mars is like our outer directed, like sexual energy, aggressiveness, anger. So when we have these two planets in square, which is a very active aspect, but it's active because we're frustrated with each other because we don't really get each other. So this one can show that um, it brings out like individualistic qualities in both people where we don't want to cooperate because the Jupiter person gets really stuck in their own beliefs about the future and about where they're going in life, the forward energy of Jupiter. And the Jupiter person can feel like the Mars person just isn't going in the same direction, or is even like with their impulsiveness, like slowing them down in a sense, or even if they're pushing them towards their goal, they can feel like the Mars person just does it in a way that's like not to their taste or not to their liking. And actually, the Jupiter person can get a little bit judging of the Mars person and kind of like a little bit of like a superiority complex energy towards the Mars, like you don't have the wisdom that I have. You don't have the, positive energy that I have. You're just like this bull in a china shop kind of energy, and I just, don't like that. I'm better than you kind of thing. And the Mars person does not take well to that, and then they can just fight them and be like, no, well, you might be smarter, but I'm stronger. And yeah, so there can be a bit of argumentativeness and fighting and things like that, but it's also like usually not serious. It's not, and it's usually easily forgiven, but it can definitely be a bit touchy and a bit impulsive. Like, so if tempers do flare up, it's not like because we have this like long standing resentment and we've been holding it in for so long. It's not that. It's just that like something quick happens, and because our impulsiveness is activated, we just have a little blow up, and then we go back to doing all these activities that we're doing because with this square we're doing a lot. So it's very interesting. It's definitely, yeah, like I said, high energy. Would be great for something like working out together and doing something productive. And, if there's other aspects too that are supporting this, like maybe there's some, other aspect to the Mars or other aspect to the Jupiter that, um, you know, provide a release from this energy, that would be good. But yeah, it can show belief differences. It can show differences in where we're going. And like I said, usually Jupiter being a little bit judgy of Mars and the way that they act. And it's like, yeah, because Jupiter is kind of like a spiritual energy too. It's like our faith, it's our connection to something higher. And then they can feel like the Mars person is just kind of in the way of that or just not getting it, right? And then the Mars person can feel like the Jupiter person is just like too philosophical and like in their ideas, and they just want to get physical and they just want to, be sexual and be, yeah, in the more physical body. And yeah, so there can be differences too in timing of sexual energy, because the Jupiter person is operating in a more mental level at times, and the Mars person is right down here in the physical, primal, like base desires. But it's usually not going to stop a sexual relationship from happening, but over time, it can show that, like, yeah, when someone's feeling it, the other person is, off working on some idea or, something else. And that can be a challenge when we have Mars square Jupiter. But usually, though, the energy level is so high that we can overcome these kind of differences. We're open to becoming more in the mood with this square, which is different than some squares. It's kind of like it's a more open-minded square. We want this to work because we do get a boost from each other, and we do feel really good together and feel an exuberance and a high. Squares to Jupiter, you want to be careful not to gamble, not to, do reckless things together. This one is definitely, you want to have a warning label on it. Like, don't go and impulsively buy an expensive sports car or, blow a bunch of money at the casino, because this is the kind of energies that, especially if the fifth house is involved, you could have some kind of like Venus square Jupiter, have some wrong intuition about certain financial things. And so you definitely want to be aware of that when you have Mars square Jupiter in Synastry. Yeah, what else? The Jupiter person could also feel like the Mars person is maybe doesn't get along with their family, or there's some sort of difference in culture, or even like a language barrier or a distance kind of barrier. Or maybe like the Jupiter person is someone who's very educated, and the Mars person is someone who didn't even finish high school. There could be differences like that with this square, but it's not going to be something that makes them hate each other or not like each other, but that could be a part of some of the judgment that there sometimes is just because of these differences in culture or belief or education, things like that. What else? Yeah, I think just the biggest thing is don't overdo it. Take the time to be more internal, be more like thoughtful in communication. Take a step back, take a few deep breaths, meditate, and then say what you're going to say or act on what you were going to act when you have this square, because it's two very outward energies. It's like you always want to be out conquering the world, but maybe your relationship needs some internal focus, or focus around the home and like, yeah, focusing on feelings, because these aren't very emotional planets. This is a more, yeah, like I said, external energy, and sometimes too much so. Restlessness, overacting, overdoing, exhausting yourself. So it might be good if you have this aspect to, like, yeah, do some more chill things together. And also just not judging each other for your differences, because you obviously like each other and you have other aspects that are good, and don't let this one square make you miss that and miss the really good things about this relationship. Because that's the thing with Mars square Jupiter, is when you're on the high of this, things are great, and you're like, this is almost like a little bit of a bipolar aspect. It's like you're manic and you're like, this is the best relationship ever, we love each other so much. And then when you're having your fight, it's like, this is stupid, this is the worst relationship ever. And you want to try to like be more neutral with this square. So I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. If you've had it in your synastry, what was it like? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for your requests. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.